Joining me now is Daniel Bilak, a Canadian lawyer living in Kyiv and serving in Ukraine's Territorial Defense Force. Daniel, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
How is it there with this marking the 2-year anniversary of the Russian invasion?
Well, I'll have to be honest with you. We're tired. I hear about how fatigued people are in the West, and we can understand that. We're fatigued from waking up every morning to tears and blood, finding out which cities have been bombed and how many people have been killed. We're fatigued from running into bomb shelters every week a number of times. I'm fatigued from going to funerals in my village. We've been to 22 already for people who serve with me in my unit. We're tired of the unimaginable horrors that we've witnessed of tortures, rapes, deportations of children, ripped from the arms of their family members, sent to Russia to be adopted by strangers, and the mass graves that are discovered every time we liberate a village. So, it's tough. Yet Ukrainians are resilient. We're still resistant. We have resolve, and 80% of Ukrainians still say that they do not want to leave 1 centimeter of territory to the Russians, of our territory to the Russians, because of all of these things. We know that you're basically sentencing people in any place under occupation to slavery and slaughter.
How does Ukraine win this war?
We win this war by getting weapons. I mean, it's really simple. The math is not hard. You know, we have begged and pleaded for weapons for 2 years now, and I can tell you that had we received what we needed in the quantities that we asked for and in the time frame that we asked for after we took Kharkiv and Kherson in the late fall of 2022. This would have been over by Christmas, because we had them on the back foot. They were complete disarray, and we really had them. And unfortunately, our allies slow walked our demands. We got maybe 100 tanks. We got 31 Bradleys Abram 1 tanks from the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And we were told to go on a counteroffensive that last summer that no NATO country would ever have gone with, because didn't have any air cover. And so, I mean, we can win this war. This war is absolutely winnable. We've proven that we can fight this war. We fight it smart. We fight it asymmetrical, but we can't fight it throwing stones at these guys. They have, all they do is throw people at us. But there's a saying that quantity has its own quality, and we need the weapons to mow them down, which we were doing. They took 2.5 months and 50,000 lives expended to take Avdiivka, which is not hugely strategic, but it's a win for them. But the only reason they took it was we ran out of ammunition, and every day that as the Minister of Defense quite properly said, every day that we don't get what we need, more people die and we lose more territory, and that is a huge tragedy. And the important thing for people in Canada to understand is that this, and I get tired coming back to fatigue. I get tired of repeating this over and over again. This is not Ukraine's war against Russia. Mm-hmm. This is a war of the West against Russia, because Russia has made it that. And Putin was explicit last week when he said that Russia is in a war against the collective West, led by the United States. You don't pick your enemy. And, the people of Canada are subjects of this war as well. And, we are all that stands between the Russian forces and the NATO, our NATO allies in the West. And if we fall, he's coming after you next. And that's when Canadian soldiers die. It's a very small price to pay to help arm us now.
Do you have any hope then for any kind of a settlement, or is this a war that has to be resolved to a nasty end?
Well, no, you can have a settlement, but only after the Russian army is completely defeated in Ukraine. There's no scenario whereby there is peace if we are forced to capitulate at this time with him sitting on Ukrainian territory. He's going to just rearm and come back. As I said, off my last comment, we are today the eastern shield of NATO, and Putin has prepared his people for perpetual war. There's a cult of necrophilia in Russia where you basically give birth to children so that they can die for Mother Russia in our war against the West. And, the West just needs to stop being afraid. And I think that the one major strategic victory, in fact, the only strategic victory that Putin has achieved to this point in time, is he has weaponized the fear of the West. We've been given all along enough to survive, but not enough to win. And now we don't even have enough to survive. And it's like being on life support, and we never get off life support. You can't get up and walk and be free, because that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting for the same values that you have. And I just cannot understand. I cannot understand how this is where we are today with not having the weapons to defeat this evil. This is a war of good against evil.
Daniel, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts today. We appreciate it.
God bless. Thank you to the people of Canada for all your support.
Daniel Bilak is a Canadian-Ukrainian lawyer and a member of Ukraine's Territorial Defense Force.